I can. Can you hear me? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's unexpected, but obviously disappointing. Um, where we're at from a public health perspective, it was going to be a difficult path to fall competitions. Um, the hope right now is the OUA is exploring potentially spring for some of the fall sports that won't happen. So we would be supportive of that if it's feasible, but that's what they're looking at. Um, and right now, our focus is on supporting our athletes. Okay, sure. Okay. Sorry, I thought we were live. Yeah, I'd say it's not an unexpected announcement, but obviously disappointing for us. Um, we knew from a public health perspective it was a difficult road to return to sport and competition in the fall. And the OUA has made a decision in the best interest of the health and safety of the athletes, which we support. Obviously, it's disappointing for the athletes. They want to compete, they want to go out there. And at this point, we're going to support them through a prolonged period not competing. But again, disappointing, but not unexpected news today. Yeah, for us, our big programs impacted our cross country and soccer. And obviously, we're very excited about where both those programs are going. So it'll put a pause for them for a bit. But the hope, the OUA is looking at the feasibility of some spring possibilities for those sports. And so once they do that study, we'll see where they sit. Uh, Yeah, that's really where we're at. I mean, the hope is that, as the OUA said in their statement today, that competition can resume in January. And by then, we'll be in a space to do that. You're following public health guidelines. That's the most important thing. So if we get to that space, we'll resume team competitions. But until then, the health and safety of our athletes is most important. Yeah, I do apologize for pulling him away from your show this morning. No, what you're going to see is return to train happen sooner than that. So we can see provincially that you can do some individual training right now. They just announced this afternoon that in terms of outdoor sports, they can start doing some team training. So we'll keep following those recommendations and allowing our athletes to train as we can. Um, Part of our return to campus plan, which will be coming out, over the next couple of weeks, is going to be athletes understanding that athletes may be some of the first people back to campus, just because of that training elements. Regardless of what academics may be like, athletes need to train in person. So that's something that we're keeping a mindset of. And right now we are restricted, especially in terms of indoor facilities, what we can do, but some of the outdoor facility stuff has started to open up from a training perspective. Yeah. Absolutely. It'll still be an impact because athletes can study remotely. But it'll be an impact. We'll see what the fall looks like. But with return to training, I'm sure the coaches and athletes are itching to get back together. So, for Algoma University, we haven't announced what our fall plan is yet, but even if there is an online component, I expect they're going to want at least back training and doing what they can as a team. And we'll keep following that guideline.
And with me talking with sports, talking to the coaches, a lot of new recruits coming in. So it's something that probably a few smiling faces when it came to coaches this morning on the conversation, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the big thing is for those seasons that aren't happening is the U Sports has said they don't lose that eligibility. So, whether you play or not without a U Sports championship, you won't lose that year of eligibility, whatever happens this year. So I know that was a concern for some of our athletes was, what does that mean? And then for some of them, they're in their final year. That's where we're trying to see if we can make something happen, because they may decide their academic career is over. They're going off to whatever they're doing. And we're hoping to have some kind of season for most of the athletes. So,
and that's the biggest thing. We the players think the sports first, but we know schooling's first. So that's something that, again, right now you don't know, say, about soccer and cross country. If there wasn't a season, they can have another year of eligibility. But do they have to start school in the fall still to do their schooling?
For most of them, hopefully their academics is their focus, and they will be. Some more clarifications around eligibility will be coming out, so I can't answer that today. But typically there is a focus on the athletes still learning, and we're going to support them academically. The other thing is that we expect to still be able to award AFA athletic financial awards as we have previously. So, helping them financially through their academics is important. We like to say they're student athletes, students first. So that's something that I expect many of them to still be involved academically. And we'll know more about the eligibility stuff this week.
And just to touch base with you, the Director of Student Services, how's your last 88 days been? I see you've been building a backyard for your kids.
I have been, yeah. Well, playgrounds are closed, so you may do to build that. No one's ever lived through this, right? So it's uncharted territory for us. Maintaining connections with students has been the big challenge. Their mental health through this, the isolation that they're dealing with as well. Certainly for those of us with small kids, it's even bigger impact on them in terms of not seeing their friends and stuff like that. But, it doesn't get easier as you get older either. So we're dealing with that. And a lot of our students dealing with financial difficulties as well. Jobs, have been hard to come by. So helping them with that. And hopefully the news today about the economy reopening a bit more will really help those students looking for summer employment and need to make money.
And it's something I use, not that your job's not stressful anyways, but today's announcement might take a little bit of relief a little bit, again, when it comes to the athletes and the coaches, right?
I think so. It's good to just see positive changes. For so long, we were, things were being restricted or taken away. And so as these things come back online, there are at least positive news stories that we can share and move forward on. And that does help. So, it was a good news element we had today and alongside the disappointing element. So at least we had a little bit of both.
And when it comes to for Algoma, I know there's still a lot of time between now and January, but they don't even know when they can release the schedule, right? Or what the schedule is going to look like?
I don't expect they release the schedule until they make their decision on January. So there's a lot of steps between now and then in terms of working with the medical officers of health and understanding what return to competitions means, and then looking at what that means for a season. So, you look at some of the steps the NCAA has announced in terms of their return to competition. There's a lot of hurdles to get through before they get there. And we're in the same boat that, some of the professional sports leagues, they have a bit more money to be able to do some of the things necessary that systemic is not within the university sport world. So, again, health is going to be the number one thing guiding what we do. And when we can do that safely, then we'll return to sport. And everyone is hoping that can be in the new year.
And it's something, again, that I know schedule-wise it can't be made, but will it maybe push the season a little bit later into April because of with what's happening if basketball does happen?
Yeah, I mean, the OUA is looking at a number of different scenarios. I expect it'll be a condensed season in some form. I don't expect us to get a full regular season in. But how far they extend it or what that looks like, that's really up to them. I know from their perspective, there's been tons of different variations of schedules that they're trying to come from. So I think the first decision will be, can we do sport? Yes. What date does that look like? And then they'll look at whatever scenarios they have on the table and see what's most feasible.
And again, not as when we talked about the show today, CanWest, where they're dealing with 4 provinces. Yeah. The benefit of the OUA, we're dealing with just the province of Ontario, right?
We are, but even within that province and with the government announcement today, you can see the difference regionally. So, that area around the GTA and that core, they're not moving to phase 2 on Friday like the rest of the province. So that's something that we are just dealing with one province, which is a benefit to us. But at the same time, we have huge variability within public health units. We're lucky in Algoma Public Health. We haven't had an active case in a while. Everything's resolved. But a lot of the cases are still coming up in the GTA. So that's going to be a big thing they're going to have to address if that continues. Is even travel between public health regions could be, something they have to look at. And a lot of the teams in the OUA are centered in that GTA area. So that's something that, again, we'll see a few months from now what that looks like, but that's something the OUA will have to consider.
And something we've talked about off camera during the last season is, and there's nothing against the pandemic, of course, but you must be happy of not living in Southern Ontario right now and being in Sault Ste. Marie now, right?
That's before I came to Sault Ste. Marie. That's where I came from. I was in Guelph previously, so I am happy. It's one of the many benefits moving up here is that we haven't been hit quite as hard. As much as a lot of my family's still down there and stuff like that. Obviously, much different for them down there than it is here. So.
And the last thing is, some of the athletes would already been in town if this didn't all happen.
Yeah.
What would you like to say to the new recruits that will be coming that you haven't been able to meet yet?
Well, we're still here to support you. We look forward to having you here for training, and we're going to have that connection to connect as Thunderbirds. And as soon as we can get back to competition, we will. But we're still going to support you as student athletes as you get introduced to Thunderbird athletics.
Well, thank you very much, and hopefully we can talk come the fall with better news.
Absolutely.